Hello, and welcome to Wise Wednesdays with Melanie Morrison. Today I have a beautiful friend. Her name is Sadiqa Varet, and I'm excited to start this conversation during this time. But first of all, I just want to take a deep breath. Everyone, take a deep breath with me. And just breathe into this moment. There's been so much going on. I think at the midst of the anxiety, I want to just connect here and discuss how we can just center in and be in our power during these times of chaos or turbulence. So we have a lot going on, and it's so easy to get caught up in checking back and checking those numbers and checking those numbers again. But as we all know, a watched pot never boils. It's never productive for us to sit in angst and watch the numbers. So I'm just going to suggest that we all take a moment to just breathe in, breathe, and connect with our center, and just let go of the outcome. And when we're saying our prayers or pulling in to our power, it's really thinking about or asking for assistance. Okay, well, I know there are a lot of things at hand that are behind the scenes, but help me as we step into this change, because inevitably it will be change of some sort. As we together step in this change, help and support me to be the best version of me. Help and support me in this new path and this new walk to do it in peace and in beauty and in a sense of togetherness. So with that, I'm going to bring in my beautiful friend and let her introduce herself to you, Sadiqa.
Hi, everyone. I am Sadiqa Varet, and I am here with Awaken One Home Remedies. Also, we have our nonprofit organization, Awaken One Heal the World Foundation. And we're just here today because we want to encourage you to really embrace this moment and this time with all the elections and everything that's going on. Like Melanie was saying, the anxiety is thick. We can all feel it. And if we could just take a moment to breathe and relax and focus on the now and what we're doing at any given time, I think it's going to really help us.
I love that. So we had put at our topic radical self-love. And I think during this time, radical self-love is so key. And I think a big part of self-love is just taking a moment to check in and feel when things are a little bit out of balance. I think for me, it all starts there. You know, if I find myself being triggered or super anxious, I like to stop and say, okay, well, one moment, is there something that I haven't been tending to? And I personally have a little list. I use the elements. So my water, my emotions. Have I been tending to my emotions? Have I been honoring the fact that I'm an incredibly sensitive person? And even if I turned off all the news, some of this in some way would energetically touch me.
Yeah.
Am I checking in? Am I asking myself, is this me? Is this uniquely a feeling I'm feeling? Or am I perhaps tapping in to all of the energy around us? So my emotions, and then my fire, and my fire being my energy and my passion, my air being my thoughts. Are my thoughts constantly always involved in something? Do I need to step back, maybe meditate, maybe let go of these thoughts consuming my mind so that I can rest and be in peace? And then let's see, earth. Earth is also very important, and that's my surroundings. Have I been so involved in my life that I haven't taken time to organize, to touch, to feel, to be in this beautiful 3D presence? And then, of course, my spiritual connection. So, kind of going through that checklist, that's how I really get in touch with my daily self-care. Sadiqa, could you tell me a little bit about your process and the most valuable things that you find for self-love during this time?
Whew, for self-love. Wow. So like you said, it's like taking things in moment by moment and time, one thing at a time, and really looking within the self and finding what is there. Is it fear? Is it anxiety? Is it hopelessness? Is it grief? What is lying inside of the self that's making you feel some type of way for any given day. Right now, we have the elections. There's a crazy energy going on, and people are really, really disrupted during this time because they're anticipating things to go their way. So even when things don't go our way, what do we do? What do we do with that? How do we self reflect? And what do we tell ourselves? What direction are we going to go within our thinking and in our minds? Our minds can truly be a beast sometimes and really come to consume and take over our natural state of being. But countering those thoughts that come in and bringing it back to a place of peace, love, hope, really going within the self and asking thyself, what is going on here? And how do I get back to a place of stillness versus the anxiety and the fear? So, yeah, we're all human beings. We're all in this together. I think we're all feeling so many different things on so many different levels. But if we could just remember to bring oneness and wholeness and remember who we are as a unit, as the human race, and how to join together and just have a sense of belonging through that aspect without any separation with that natural aspect. Bring that into alignment, bring that into balance, and just try to usher a little love in the heart of things.
Yeah. No, that's true. Because no matter what happens, we still have the power of walking our own path and being our unique persons, our unique selves. So I remember one time I was going through such a hard time and I kept praying for an outcome. And it was such a horrible time I was going through. God, just give me this alpha, give me this outcome. This is what I want. Why this suffering? And was just praying for a certain outcome. And I think it was actually my husband. We weren't even married at the time. And he said, honey, you have to just let go. You can't always pray for the outcome. Sometimes you just need to pray that you're supported through whatever outcome there is. And all of a sudden there came this big aha moment because, I had put my order into the universe. Why didn't it just deliver? But there are reasons that sometimes we have to go through trials and tribulations. They're just reasons. And I look back now and I go, now I see. Now I get it. That was a tough time, but I can see the value that I pulled from that experience. So, but yeah, just letting go of the outcome, and because when we have no control over it, and being able to pray for those next best steps forward and how to get through whatever the next steps mean, whatever they're going to be.
Absolutely. I agree with that totally. And it's funny how our husbands kind of chime in. They'll say something and it's just like nugget.
For my
Like,
kids or, friends, it's like, oh, why
yeah.
didn't I think of that?
So, yeah.
Well, were you able to, I didn't ask you before you popped on, I meant to, were you able to grab some cards for
Yes.
today? Yes?
Cards
You
today.
have them? Awesome. So I think for fun, because we all know this is a tough time and sometimes it helps to just have a bit of refocus. So I'm going to ask us all to refocus, and because part of setting boundaries around our life is to say, I'm not going to focus on this chaos 100% of the time. I've went through so many trials and tribulations, and the biggest relief I had sometimes was just listening to someone's story, or just finding yourself in the present moment when you're not consumed. So just kind of creating these little fences around your intention and your focus. So we're going to shift our focus and step into our power and really have some fun pulling some cards and seeing what conversations come up and what energy and insight we can share for the steps above. So we're going to do 4 cards. I'm going to let Sadiqa start with her cards, and then so if it pulls to you, go ahead and let us know what card you're choosing, and then maybe we can give a little bit of added insight. But go ahead and listen to your intuition as we speak now. Card 1, card 2, card 3, and card 4, and then now and claim this is the card that I'm pulling in for my intuition to support me, and let's just have a chat about it and enjoy.
Absolutely. So 4 cards here. Okay. So the first card that came up here is, and let me show you the deck first. So the deck I'm using is, here it is, Isis Oracle deck. This beautiful, beautiful deck with a lot of symbols, a lot of images, and just so much to offer. So what we got here is, oh my gosh, let me see. The wings of Isis uniting with the angelic self. Wow. And I'm just going to read what she's saying here, what that actually means for us all. So here's the card again. I'll hold that up here on camera. And it says, you have a special spiritual relationship with angelic worlds. Part of your soul purpose is to birth angelic consciousness and values such as fearlessness, compassion, and service into this human culture. This oracle brings you angelic assistance and intervention and confirmation that any impressions you may have had that you that you belong not only to human kingdom, but also to the angelic one are correct. So what this card is basically saying is you are an angelic being within. And not only are you a part of this human world, your angelic spirit is wanting to shine through as well. So embracing that sense of self, being very, very angelic and very, very magical. Angels to me have power. They have an essence of beauty and glory and pureness and holiness, and bringing the self back to a place of holiness and wholeness and oneness with the divine, because you are divine. You are a sacred being. You are a wonderful individual, and coming back to speaking those loving words to yourself is key, and it's everything, versus criticizing yourself within the beast of the mind, and encountering that beast and saying, no, I may feel this way right now, but there's a divine side, a divine essence in me that is very, very angelic. And I'm here to awaken the consciousness in our human race, to awaken our soul power, our oneness, and our togetherness through the angels and beings that are housed within us. So that's my take on this first oracle card. Should I pick some more here?
Well, I'll pull the second one and just kind of piggyback off of that. But I love that deck. That's so beautiful. I would like to see that card again, if you don't mind.
Yeah, okay. Let me
With
just in the camera right this time.
Yeah. So the wings of Isis.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. And I love how you said, and it's from within. I always think when I'm doing my cards, each of the wording is different. And I always feel like I'm simply tapping in, I'm simply calling in that energy of support. So I know with some people it gets real specific. I mean, if I pull a fairy card, it's going to say call on the fairies. If I pull a mermaid card, it's going to call on the mermaids. And I think just to, like, for me to clarify with like where my energy is, I don't actually feel like I'm calling on like a fairy, or I mean, sometimes you can, but to me, it feels like I'm calling in that energy, like you would call in, something from the energy of just attracting it. You and to have it characterized like that, it just puts it in simple human terms in a way that we can just relate to it. But I know that sometimes I get that question, oh, so do you worship goddesses? I'm like, no, I don't. I don't. It's not like that at all. I'm pulling in the energy, just like I have like this lavender. Oh, I just did a kind of, it's doTERRA. I like doTERRA. And so as I take a deep breath, I'm pulling that energy in. And so for me to know what energy I want to pull in, I need the name. Oh, it's lavender. Okay. And I need the essence of it. And for me, that's what the cards do. Is it just, because I'm smelling this and it shifts my energy, I'm not worshiping it. I'm calling in the energy into my life, because for me, lavender, gives me a sense of calm, and I can call that energy in. So I just wanted to open that conversation, because I know I get those questions sometimes.
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts about that?
No, you're absolutely right. Calling upon that energy that is there and reachable for you. Not that you're worshiping, anything like that, but just calling upon those, I would say, divine guidance and maybe spirits that love you unconditionally. We usually, I say ancestors too, family, not the dead, but just
Right, right.
remembering, the essence of your culture and your family and those that walked before you. Yeah, you can call that essence in and say, hey, help me with this, or hey, So yeah, that's how I feel about it. So the oracle cards and all the tools that we have to do that, it's amazing. It's amazing to help aid in the direction of your life. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's that, like, those archetypes.
yeah.
When you learn through the centuries, we have these specific archetypes and they existed all through the different cultures. That's powerful. Those archetypes are out there to tap into and to pull in the energy to support you in the here and the now. And so I pulled a card. I pulled from this deck. So this is the Goddess Guidance Oracle deck.
Ooh,
They don't sell it anymore. I have like the mini deck on my website, but I really like them still. So it's Schmet. Probably not. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's Be Strong. And it's you are stronger than you think, and your strength assures a happy outcome. So it's be strong.
ooh, yes.
And I really think that's powerful. And I feel when I see these things, especially like be strong, I feel like it's be strong in who you are and remain true to who you are. Like for me and all of the experiences that I had, the one thing that changed my whole life, I mean, because I grew up, I went from poverty and abuse and so many different things. And the one thing that changed the type of person that I ended up being was the fact that I committed myself to always having an open heart, always having a soft heart. And so I committed to be strong in who I am, and I knew that with all of these experiences, things could be taken from me. So I went as a foster home. I went from home to home, and throw your stuff in garbage bags, and I'd lose all my stuff, or the kids would steal it from you. But I knew that no matter what was taken from me, the one thing that nobody could ever take was my heart, unless I let them,
Yes.
unless I allowed myself to grow bitter, and unless I allowed myself to change the essence of who I am in regards to what I was going through. So I kind of want to read it, like, because I don't ever read. Well, I do, but certain ones I've had so often I don't read it. But I kind of want to read that one because I want to know a little bit about that goddess. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and read it. So it says, see yourself as strong and victorious. Don't complain about anything. Don't blame don't blame anyone or any condition. You're the embodiment of strength, not victimhood. As you rise above old tendencies and see yourself in the new light of beautiful feminine strength, your life will automatically shift in miraculous ways. Ooh, I like it.
I love that. And you picked it looked like it said Sekhmet. It's
Probably.
Egyptian, yeah, that's the Egyptian deity.
Yeah.
Beautiful, fabulous. Wow.
What did you say?
She's got the lions right next to her, like strength of the lion, that courage.
Right. And you were right on that. It is, because right here it says Sekhmet. This Egyptian goddess is a fiery protector who's married to the Egyptian deity Ptah. Her name means strong and mighty. Sekhmet is connected with the lion, symbolizing her fiercely protective nature, and sometimes appears with a lion's head and a human's body. Cool. And that's awesome. That's ancient wisdom that we just get to tap into a little bit of in this modern time. I think it's beautiful. So it looks like I lost her just a little bit. So it looks like she's paused. So guess what? I guess I'm going to pull our second card. So we've pulled two cards. Sadiqa pulled the first one, and then I pulled the second one. And so I'm going to pull the third one, and then we'll have her pull the fourth one. So just taking a moment to just really tap in. I mean, I think being strong is important. I just do feel like we definitely have a third message in card 3. Ooh, okay. So for card number 3, if you chose this for your card, this is the message for you. But it's Ona, easy does it. There's no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect timing. And it kind of goes back to, checking those numbers every second, anxiously wondering what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next. And I think that when we all put our energy all at once, because that's a lot of people in the United States putting their energy in this angst of what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next. Onaha, easy does it, is really that time of healing and releasing and honoring that your sensitivity. So I got you back. So I pulled card number 3, and then I'll have you pull card number 4.
Okay.
So, but I'm going to go ahead and read that one.
Okay.
It was Omaha. So that one was easy does it. And I felt like that was a really good message considering all the angst that sometimes we're, like that watch pot trying to see what's happening next. So I thought easy does it was a pretty good thing to focus on. And then I'll have you pull card number 4. But that, I believe that's a Hawaiian goddess. I really want to see what goddess that was. Let's see. First, I think I'm going to go to first what kind of goddess that was.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Celtic goddess.
Oh.
It's Ona, the Celtic goddess, is the leader of the Irish, bunch of words I can't say. Her clan were some of the original inhabitants of Ireland. The Gaels invaded their land, and the Tuathas didn't run or fight back. Instead, they transformed themselves into leprechauns. So this is myth. This is the myth, is that instead of fighting back, they transformed themselves into leprechauns. Their ingenious solution allowed them to stay in Ireland in peace. And it says, Onaha can help with your own transitions. She'll guide you in creative and magical ways. So it says, so this is the main message. Nurturing a cause or a relationship is a long-term commitment and one that can't be rushed. This level of devotion comes from a place of deep loving and concern. I care what happens to my planet and to my loved ones so much that I'm willing to stick with them through thick and thin. This isn't always easy. But to me, the only way to ensure that matters are resolved and healed. I listen to the passionate stirrings of my heart. I reach out and take action to lead my loved ones to know I deeply care about them. I take action to spur on my pet causes, never mind what other people think. You will benefit by carrying through with your priorities. You'll feel so good about yourself if you make time for the relationships and projects that truly count in your heart. And honestly, that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. All loved ones, families coming together, all of that. All of that's so important. And then the transforming into the leprechauns. It's like the spirit self to me, going into the spirit. No, the spirit self, and just, bringing a new awareness. So for the 4th card, I pulled from my Isis Oracle deck the Scales of Balance. Look how beautiful that is. And that says, Ancient Tantra of the Soul. Balance, bringing balance to the beautiful, beautiful souls that we are. And I'll just read that really quick. Here, let me continue to hold that up. You are a Tantrika, an initiate on a path of divine healing of the masculine and feminine, the two sacred polarities that are universal to human experience. As these energies come into mutual respect and balance, you attain great power, presence, and healing effect in the world of the soul and in the human world of forms here on this earth. you are supported in further exploring this path now under the uh, sacredness and blessings of the beloved Isis. So the scales of balance to me is bringing the masculine energy of the self and the feminine energy of the self into alignment. Can be,
Oh, it looks like I lost
I don't
her.
want to say dominant because I don't want to call the masculine energy dominant. I want to say it's more, uh, I don't know, it's just this bright energy of the sun that is very strong. And a lot of times we could mistake it for being dominant, but the masculine is also an energy that is caring, loving, and nurturing, just as the feminine energy is too. So masculine and feminine coming into proper balance and alignment, meaning allowing that feminine aspect of our masculine to shine as well. So having grace and compassion and having love. A lot of times we want to walk in a way to protect ourselves when we go out into the world and we view things from a very high, strong energy, and that's okay, that's much needed, but also the feminine energy coming to kind of bring another sense of grace and love to the aspect of things and to our minds. So the scales of balance, I feel like that's happening for all of us today.
Yeah. Oh, so I'm just now seeing Barbara. Barbara commented number 4. So Barbara, that one was for you. A little extra added insight. We'd love to hear how you feel about that number 4. So to wrap that number 4 up in your own feelings and your emotions, just really feel like it's a lot about that, the balance of the masculine and feminine energies with us.
Yeah. So there's so much with that. Sometimes I feel like we project ourselves to be a certain way. And I feel like the soul is very, very tender, likened unto a child. And if you just speak to the soul, almost like you would speak to your 5-year-old, and bring out what's going on within the soul by asking it questions, and then you'll see a grace come in and a more feminine side that comes in that allows you to cry and it allows you to just be who you are. And if you are like a child on the inside, that's okay. That's not weakness. That's a part of the balance. You know,
Mhm.
you are entitled to that. That's a part of who you are. We have that masculine and feminine energy. And sometimes the masculine is, we're not in proper alignment and balance because we're in protective mode.
Mm.
We're we've learned to cover up ourselves and to walk in a way of pretending like we're stronger than we are. But then that child on the inside is tapping us and saying, hey, that really hurt me. What that person did or how that happened, that really hurt. And acknowledging that instead of pushing that down and saying, no, I got to be strong about this, male or female. We all have that nature and that masculine and feminine, period. So acknowledging, when things happen and not pushing stuff down, acknowledging if you feel vulnerable during this time of the elections, acknowledging if you feel out of control when you're so used to being in control and you're angry and you're upset, or and the world is, a lot of craziness is happening, but just acknowledging the true nature of where those feelings are coming from, I think is
Yeah.
just important to bring in that balance.
Yeah, absolutely. And Barbara said a really important thing. I really like this. I'm going to show this comment. So she said, I've been feeling a great deal of energy this whole week, combined with inner calm and contentment. Ye I love that she mentioned that. Thank you, Barbara, for sharing that. Um, I think it's so important to acknowledge that we can feel all of these emotions. We are multidimensional beings. So we can feel calm and then, all of it can be one. So Barbara said that she's been feeling very balanced. So that the card kind of resonates with her. Sorry, that's not the one. That just resonates with her in that, perhaps like she's really been leaning on that energy. I think we can all lean on that understanding of balancing. And I love what you said about like just bringing it up, when emotions happen, being able to spend time with them. Um, Honestly, People say that it's weak if you're sensitive, but I really think that if you can remain soft-hearted and acknowledge your emotions and take time for them to say, okay, well, how am I feeling? And really allow yourself to truly feel them instead of ignore them or push them down. I think that's the brave stuff right there.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I agree. I agree. I agree. It is so brave. I remember I used to cry to my mom when I would be going through a really hard time, and I'd just be like, I would cry and that really gut wrenching cry, and I'd be like, I hate this, and you can't breathe, and you're trying to talk, and your throat hurts because you're crying, and I would say, I hate this. I hate feeling weak, and she
Oh,
would, oh well, that's actually your strength, and you need that. You need that to come out. You need that watering. You need that. So I agree with you, Melanie. It's such a brave thing to allow that to happen and not shut it away, bring balance.
well, we pulled our 4 cards. But, I'd like to just pull something for the energy of everybody right now, and I'm gonna do something fun. Is I know that there are probably America seems quite divided right now. Um, but there are probably so many different emotions depending on what your position is. And I wanna make the intention that we really support everyone, no matter what your position is, to really find that connection and that guidance for the steps forward. So we're stepping into some unprecedented time, some new things. I mean, life is always changing, but the change here now seems so big. So I'd love to pull a card and just set the intentions. That we we are acknowledging that we live in a world of masculine versus feminine or black versus white, this illusion of duality, when in all actuality, like you say, we're actually one.
Yeah.
But I think it would be fun, just kind of intentional, that we are reaching each level, regardless of what side people are on. We are addressing that. So I think I'll pull a card, and then you pull a card, and let's set the intention that this card really guides everyone. So let these cards be very collective. So for those people that are doing great and feeling good, they're going to have a card. And for those people that are struggling, whatever it is the dynamic is, as we live in this world that seems to have such dualistic nature, we could kind of make it like, because you already kind of set the theme, that would be like masculine and feminine energy. We could even go so far as to set the intention that you kind of have that masculine divine, because both are divine. They only become toxic, both of them, is when they're out of balance.
Yeah.
So if you could set the intention, what is calling to you, the masculine or the feminine, or the masculine or the feminine divine energy to call in?
I set the intention of love. I set the intention of peace and wholeness and stability right now. I set the intention of togetherness, oneness, and yeah, that's what I think that we need is unity, equal opposite sides or equal opposing sides that appear to be opposing, but uh, balancing that out and just remembering that scale and be like, why am I feeling this way? I'm out of balance. Why is this happening? Okay, I'm out of balance. Let me bring that back in and think with a new mind. I think with a
Yeah.
new thought.
So with that being said, would you like to pull a last card for us all, and then you'll pull a card and I'll pull a card. I'll set the intention, and you're cutting up a little bit, so I'll go ahead and start with pulling the card. And so I'll just set the intention. So what you talked about was very much that oneness, and I'll just go ahead and pull a card with the intention that, with that same intention. I love what she said. I was talking about pulling either a masculine or a feminine card, but I like the idea of just pulling it in a way that we can marry both energies. So I am just going to go ahead and set my intention, and I'll pull you off for now because you're breaking up a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to set that intention. what can we do right now to really marry those? Oh, I love that. So so to marry those masculine and feminine energies, to marry the what seems like duality in a way that we can birth peace together. I have pulled cycles and rhythms, and that makes so much sense to me. It says honor the cycles of your body, energy levels, and emotions. And what I'm really seeing with this is that dance. Sometimes we become way too far over here, so you can become way too masculine. That could be all of that structure and power and action. And then sometimes we can be a little bit too feminine, where it's like always in creativity and, always with your head in the clouds and always in this mystical place and forgetting to ground and forgetting to create structure and action. And so with this message, it really does bring in both. And it reminds us that we're not all one of masculine energy. We're not all feminine energy, but in actuality, we are dancing between the two, and to really marry both energies so that we can birth into our reality the abundance and the joy and the peace that we all want to see, is just to remember that we are doing a dance, and to flow and to feel and to dance in between both, and honoring each pieces of structure and flow so that we can step into our most balanced energy.
I absolutely love that. It is a dance. That's exactly what it is. It's the back and forth. And sometimes we'll be hard on ourselves for the dance because we're swaying in a different way over here and going too masculine or too feminine. But dancing and letting that flow happen is all a part of that balance. You have to have the positive and the negative. You have to have the masculine and feminine. When you get in sync with the two, it's like a beautiful dance of, this is the card I pulled. This is crazy. Abundance of solstice, sorry. Abundance. So I just want to read that really quick. It says, abundance in many forms is flowing to you now, beloved. Intend right now to receive it. Just decide to do so in your heart this very moment. The oracle of the abundance of solstice comes as guidance to expect increased flow, to continue your good works, and building channels through which abundance can be delivered to you. Freely share your talents, love, wisdom, and self, and enjoy the abundance responsibly flowing to you in many forms over and over again. So I feel like that balance creates that abundance within you. And when you're flowing in your gifts and your abilities and your talents, and you have that dance, and you're not worrying about what people are saying, but you're just moving and you're dancing with that masculine feminine, that abundance starts like, oh, you're attracting it your way. And when you do that, you, like it said, you're opening channels for that increase to come in, because you're not stuck in one flow. You're dancing.
Yes, I love that very much. And with that, I'll say goodbye to our friends, because that is a beautiful thing to end on. Remember that Siriqua will be on Vibe Up, which is a Facebook live shop, and she has a lot of beautiful things to offer and show us. So please do come and visit her there and see what she has to offer for that Facebook live event. I'm really excited to pull her on for that. So wishing everyone big love. Thank you for showing up today. I know there's, Sadiqa and I mentioned there's that division, but think about how can we dance together, and why it might seem impossible now, coming from each sides, creating that dance. Maybe if we just start with our inner work, finding the different aspects of ourselves, and starting with having a dance within that creates balance and abundance, and then trusting that it can happen with the rest of us. So big love to you all. Thanks for popping in, and I will see you next time on Mindful Mondays. Have a great week. Bye-bye.